Island here. I've had a few questions lately on making LC, knocking up grain bags, transferring agar, basic shit when you have agar with mycelium on it. Right here I have a plate of Yeti, which I got from the Fungus Frequency and a giveaway he did, and it's a great looking plate. During my renovation I was working in a still air box, and this is the one culture I happen to get contamination on. So I have to redo it. The plate's clean still, there's nothing in the plate, but in the still air box I must have done something wrong with the grain jar, because 1 out of 7 ended up getting some trick in it. So I know it's not in bacteria embedded in the culture. I know it's something that I did working in a still air box when I was remodeling, because I was too excited. I couldn't wait. I wanted to get all the stuff on grain. The other 7 cultures that I got from him turned out perfect. One of them I screwed up. It's not the guy's fault, it was mine. So what I'm going to show you is needle biopsy from agar to LC, a cut of agar to LC, transfers to plates, and transfers to bag and jars of popcorn that's already been sterilized and ready to be knocked up. Everything's been sprayed down. I got everything ready. The only thing I might have to do is sterilize scalpels as I'm going. Right now I have them in my little, I have a little thing down here, right here. It's a nail file pot thing. It stays at 200 and something degrees. That's where I put them before I use them. I might still hit them with the torch just because I'm paranoid about that stuff. But I'm going to get down here in my new chair. I'm going to get situated. I'm probably going to not talk for very much while I'm doing it. I might do a voiceover. Depending on how the sound comes out, I might just keep talking like this. But anyways, I'm gloved up. I'm masked up. Hi. And I'm going to get to work and show you how I do this. Liberal amounts of alcohol. Not to drink, to spray all over yourself. Now when you're doing a needle biopsy, you get a fresh needle, brand new. I use a 3 milliliter syringe for a needle biopsy just because it's I have a lot of them and I don't use them that often. You're going to open your syringe in front of the airflow if you have an airflow, and I like to pull a little bit of sterile air in the package back into the syringe before I even take it out, so that way there's about a cc and a half of air in the syringe. That way there, when I go to push the biopsy out, it'll have air behind it. Okay, now I'm just putting the needle on. That's sterile, and I don't have to do anything else with that for now. So I'm going to put that down while I talk. Now, the next step is opening your plate. You're going to slowly slide the needle open side down on top of the agar and twist into the mycelium to try to get a sample. I'll show you. Staying sterile and in your airflow. One side's flat with a hole, the other side's pointy, but you know, you're gonna do this. Put it into your and twist. Okay, I got a good sample. I'm going to put it into this jar. I'm going to re-sterilize that real quick. Okay, now there's going to be a little piece of mycelium that comes flying out. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's in there, it's just, it's stuck to the glass at first. Yeah, it's floating around right there. It's going by. Right there on the bottom. Now it's in the middle. I don't know if you can see it. It's coming around right. Let me see if I can get behind the camera and show you a little better. See it float by? There it goes. Well, it's in there. We're going to give it a few days, let that do its thing. Now, I'm not done with the needle biopsy yet, because you can do a couple other things with a needle biopsy. Okay, while it's in the jar, I'm just going to pull up a little bit of fresh air just into it, because the air in here is sterile. So I'm going to take that needle out now. This is inoculated, so we're going to put this up here. It's all done. I'm going to label that when I'm all done. I'm going to take another needle biopsy. I'm going to put it on Agar. This might be easier to see it come out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just push the air out. See how it shot out right there? That's an inoculated plate. You can do that with a needle as well as a scalpel. That only gets the mycelium on the surface. It's not going to grab your big chunk of agar underneath. That's inoculated. So what you do with that, get your wrapping tape or your parafilm. Once this is inoculated, wrap it up. You don't want to leave it just unwrapped. There, that's good. I'll put a little more on that before I'm done. But anyway, so that's all I'm doing with needle biopsy. So next step is how you do a cut into LC. Now, your LC should look, I don't like this jar. I'm going to get a different shaped jar. This is pretty clear. This is Tree Digs Mycology Premix. It's 1 gram per 400 milliliters. This is about, I don't know, maybe 250 milliliters. I make a big gallon batch, or half gallon at a time. This is just some sticker that's on the jar, but it's pretty clear. You can see behind it pretty easily. Sometimes you get a little bit of caramelization, but this is not cloudy at all. This is perfectly clear. It's ready to go. It's been sterilized. I made these tops with the syringe filters and the LC already shipped, the self-healing injection port. Now I got a scalpel. Now, because I've been walking around with a scalpel, I'm going to respray it with alcohol and clean it off because I've been out of the airflow. And I'm also going to flame sterilize it real quick. You want your needle to go red. Or not your needle, your scalpel, I'm sorry. See how red that's getting? That's done. Now I'm just going to set it there and let it cool for a minute while we talk. Or while I ISO the rest of myself. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 transfers from this plate in the next minute. This is how you should work, get a steady flow. I have everything ready. I got a grain jar, I got a grain bag, I got 2 plates, and I got an LC jar. I got to open the top, just make sure it's loose. And I got to spray it down. Almost forgot. Okay, these are all ready to go. Okay? So the first 2 are going to be my agar transfers. Whoa. I'm going to put new samples on agar just so I have it ready. I'm going to cool the scalpel, make sure it's cool. Now these are my backups on agar. Okay? Taking a couple nice triangles, or nice squares. There's one. I put the mycelium up. I don't know why. I think it grows faster. 2. That's how you do it. Those 2 are done. Now we're going to go to a grain bag. I'm going to use, oh wait, I'm going to go to LC next. I'm sorry. Because I don't, now this is how much you use for LC. You don't need much. My scalpel is still in the airflow, so it's still sterile. Okay? You're going to take a little sample of nice healthy growth at the end here. I don't go all the way to the edge of the plate. I go about a 1/4 of an inch in. Now that's it. That's all I'm putting in this jar. That's how you inoculate LC with a cut. Real quick, real simple. Now when you want to do a bag, get your bag. It's already been sprayed. Get it ready. Get it open on top. Okay? In your airflow. If you're in a still air box, it's totally different. Now I'm going to use about half this plate in here. I'm going to cut it in half that way and then make a few slices. Done. me, I take the end of my bag and I fold it over. And I staple it like Ed Grand does. Done. Now I can squeeze a little bit of the air out. That one's done. Now the grain jar. Now I'm working on one culture here, so I would not normally be doing this if I was working with multiple cultures. I'd be labeling in between. Let's re-sterilize this real quick because it's been sitting in just out here for a minute. Normally I just keep going, I don't stop, and then I seal everything up at the end because I keep everything in my flow here at a time. Now, got my jar loose, okay? Same thing, I'm just letting this cool for a second, but I can cool it in a little corner over here just underneath. Anyways, I'm just going to cut a few pieces like that, cut the edge. This is simple. Lift your lid, slide it back, and drop your pieces in. I didn't make this agar, so it's a little thinner than I normally do. That should be just fine. Now what I do is I shake it in there a little bit so I can see it down at on the sides and on the bottom. And then after a few days I'll shake it up. That plate's done. That syringe is done. Gotta clean your surface just because I'm going to be doing one more thing here. Now, when you're labeling, I use two different markers. I use a fat marker and a skinny marker. They're both Sharpies. One's just new and one's old. I wipe off the glass first so it's dry where I'm going to be marking it. Otherwise, your marker stops working and it's just a pain in the ass. Oh, I got to shut these too. Forgot to wrap these two. That's okay. Get your parafilm or your grafting tape. Put another wrapper on this first one just because. Now again, remember the first one was the needle biopsy, so I'm going to label this one a little bit differently. I learned this from Andrew over at Mossy Creek. He has a code for his needle biopsy, which I thought was really interesting. So I'm going to label it first, Yeti. I'm going to put the date on the bottom, 9/25. Now this is just my first transfer of the culture, so I'm just going to put T1 so I know what I did. And then over here, I'm just going to make an arrow. And then now I know that that's a needle biopsy. Just this little arrow here. Needle to Agar. Now I know that's been a needle biopsy, so I can watch that grow. And then this is just a regular T1 Yeti. See, didn't get dry enough, so my marker starts not working. Yeti. T1, 9/25. Yeti, T1. Those are done. Okay. Now remember the needle biopsy LC jar. You don't want to forget labeling that one. I'm going to use the other Sharpie on the jars and bags because it's a little fatter. Shows up better. So we got Yeti. Now this one here was the needle biopsy, so I'm going to make that little arrow again. And then put the date. Now I can watch that one, see how it grows, and there's an arrow on there so I know what comes from the needle. And this one here is just a regular Agar 2LC of Yeti. Now we can watch how these two differently colonize. It's going to colonize pretty much the same. The needle biopsy may be a day or two behind just because it's a smaller sample. And then again, we got a Yeti. 25. Now this has all been done in real time, folks, so this took me about, what, 5-10 minutes to do all these transfers and all this stuff. So I ended up with 3 new Agar plates that are going to grow out. One of them will be good, so I'm pretty much guaranteed to get some mycelium from those. I got a grain bag, I got a grain jar, and I got 2 LCs. Now, talking about LC, unless you're making LC to expand to like 20 bags like this, or you're planning on selling this, you're better off just going from agar to your grain. These 3 plates will colonize in the same time it takes for, in the time it takes for these 3 plates to colonize, or to get a plate to colonize, then transfer from this plate to an LC, and then wait for the LC to grow to the point where you can inoculate a bag or a jar with that LC, you're adding 2 or 3 more weeks. So if you're growing for your home growing, unless I do LC for fun and to give away, that's what I'm doing right now. I hope to eventually maybe sell some if people really want my genetic change, you know, my isolations and stuff that I'm going to be making and growing and showing people. That's fine. They might want something, and we'll figure that out. But if you grow a plate, you take a cut, put it on a plate. I call them cuts now. It's just a lot easier because you're cutting a piece of agar. So I made a new cut. I made 3 new cuts here. These are going to be grown fully within a week to 2 weeks, pretty much. Then I can take this, and instead of going into an LC and waiting another 2 or 3 weeks, I can just put the sample right onto the agar, or right onto the grain from the agar. A lot quicker. You save yourself 3 weeks, and there's a lot less chance of contamination going from one step, going from your colonized plate or your LC or whatever you however you got your genetics. You make your transfer to either a plate, or you take your plate and you put it right to either grain. I'm saying this wrong, I'm sorry. You got your plate of agar with your mycelium on it. Now you can either put that plate straight to grain or right to an LC. Which one's going to colonize first? The grain. So and then you can make backup plates from that first plate, so you have it. You know, and then if you had to wait for these to colonize and LC to colonize, it's adding weeks to your time. I'm sorry I'm explaining this poorly, but that's how I inoculate stuff. Anyway, let's talk, guys. We got 8 tickets left on the fan filter unit raffle. It's a 2x4, twice as wide as this one, same height, and the raffle tickets are $25 each. There was originally 40 available. There's 9 left. I want to do the raffle next Sunday, so time's running out to get your tickets. I take Cash App. If you don't have Cash App, I can do Zelle or even PayPal if I have to. But 31 of the tickets are sold. We have 9 left. Get them while they're hot. You know, I mean, it's only been running for about 10-11 days, so we got another week pretty much. That's about it, about a week, and it's going to be raffled. I'd like to do the raffle Sunday, but if I have to, I'll wait a few more days. I want to give everybody that can get a chance to buy a raffle ticket a chance to buy one. I know times are tough, but if you're looking at buying a fan filter unit, maybe a raffle ticket is a good investment for you. It's a 1 in 40 chance for only 25 bucks. I wish I had that opportunity when I was building my own filter units, because I spent about 150 bucks on my different fan filter units just building them. So 25 bucks would have been a great deal for me to get into a raffle. Also, there's going to be consolation prizes, 2nd and 3rd. After the raffle for the fan filter unit, I'm going to do 2 more drawings for prize packages. So some LCs, some plates, stuff like that, ready for you guys to use and enjoy. Yeah, so hit me up. You can either email me at MikeOallenMycology@gmail.com, or you can DM me or comment down below and I'll get back to you. Hopefully I'll get back to you. If I don't get back to you, I'm on IG as well. All my social medias are just Mike O'Allen. So if you search Mike O'Allen, and if you see a little picture of a white golden retriever drawing, that's me.